Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. The Theme Park Duo is here to bring you another great episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast.
But I do enjoy your new take on the intro. I really appreciate.
I tried
the spicing it up just a little bit.
I tried to do something different, and then I realized it was redundant.
It was pretty much like when a kid goes swimming for the first time by himself, and he swims out to the deep end, and then he actually in the deep end realizes where he is. And just panics.
That's me all the time. Not even just on the podcast. That's like me in life.
Well, it's okay. You did a great job. And like Nikki said, we're here for another great episode. And we have a lot of things to cover today, like usual. And today, in particular, I'm really excited. Really excited.
Why are you excited?
Because we have our first piece of Halloween news.
Oh my gosh, it's only April.
No, it's only April. You're right.
April.
It is only April.
Yeah.
So don't look at me like that. Yes, it's only April and we have some Halloween news. Now let's get into our brand new segment, the first time we're doing it for this show, Haunting Headlines. So we only have the one piece of news for Haunting Headlines today. Obviously, really early on in the season. But the fact that we have anything at all makes me really happy. So we have some news coming out of Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights over there at Universal Studios, Florida, Orlando. It sounds repetitive and stupid when I say that. It's like, in Orlando, you know, the parks and stuff. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So they brought out some news saying that they are going to have an American Horror Story maze again this year.
But different than the one in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, different. But they had one last year as well.
Oh.
But this year, they're going to be focusing on the seasons Asylum, Coven, and Roanoke. So Roanoke being the most recent one.
Last year, was theirs the same as ours?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you because I wasn't paying attention to their mazes a whole ton last year. Just because we were covering so much stuff.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering because it'd be cool if Hollywood got that maze too.
Now, the thing is that the press release said that Hollywood will be getting one as well this year, but it said more details to come. It didn't say anything about what the concept will be. Now, it would be weird if we didn't get those three mazes.
Yeah.
Because last year, we had an American Horror Story maze, and it was Hotel, it was Freak Show,
and the original,
and Murder House.
Yeah, Murder House.
So those are the other three seasons. So why would we get that again unless Hollywood's just going to recycle the same maze again and, you know, maybe plus it a bit. But they also did say that Hollywood and Orlando might not have similar mazes this year.
Oh, so it could be the same, or it could be something completely different.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I have no clue. It may be based on something that hasn't even come out yet. Who knows?
Maybe.
But if you guys want to head over to themeparkduo.com, we actually have the press release and all the information there. I'll read you a little bit of the press release so that you have a little bit more information on Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and their American Horror Story maze. So it says, Universal Orlando's all-new, incredibly detailed maze will bring 3 new installments of American Horror Story anthology to life. In Asylum, guests will travel through the decades of the notorious Briarcliff, evading Dr. Arden's grotesque human rasper experiments and coming face-to-face with the serial killer Bloodyface. In Coven, New Orleans aesthetics surround guests as they're drawn into the bloody rivalry between the descendants of the Salem witches, the voodoo queen of New Orleans, Marie Laveau, and the sadistic Madame Delphine Lalaurie.
That section is just going to be a Stevie Nicks music video.
Just a Stevie Nicks music video.
Yeah.
That season was terrible, but would make a very good maze. Do you not agree?
No, I don't. Well, I agree.
Do you not remember the season at all?
I agree that it was terrible.
Well, there was a lot of monsters. There were zombies. There was that guy running around with like the bull head on him.
All I remember is
there was
red
a lot
hot
of monsters.
anger and my eyes glazed over with like red hatred every time it became a music video, which is every episode.
Nikki goes into seizures whenever she hears Stevie Nicks now.
I seriously, like, I can't listen to Stevie Nicks without thinking of that episode or season of Coven.
Well, anyway, there is stuff in there to make a haunted house out of, and it would be good.
If I hear a Stevie Nicks song, though,
you will.
Ugh.
And finally, guests will relive the horrific story of the Millers in Roanoke, where they'll be at the mercy of Piggy Man, the Grizzly Polk family, and the ghosts of the Blood Moon.
Ooh.
So there's lots of details on there, and it seems like it'd be a really good fun time.
Yeah. I think that they all would translate well to a maze.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And to flip the script a little bit and go the complete opposite direction, not bloody, not horror at all, we have some Disney news for today's Mouse Report.
Okay, so our first bit of news really isn't news, it's more of a rumor. So the rumor is that Orlando and California are getting TRON coasters.
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting bit of information. This has been traveling down the grapevine quite a bit, and it seems to be kind of connected in with the fact that they want to make a TRON sequel to what they did, TRON Legacy, which ultimately, I guess, recouped its money entirely.
I think it was pretty successful.
Well, I mean, money-wise, I don't know if it necessarily would be considered a success. And you guys can't see me, but I'm putting air quotes in the air when I say success. So I don't know if it could technically be considered a success, but I mean, obviously they have plans, so it did well enough for them to warrant even talking about a sequel to TRON, let alone taking what they have in Shanghai and bringing it to the United States.
I mean, I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think that movie and that whole franchise kind of translates well to a ride. I mean,
what I think is more of a viable option is there a possibility of it being changed theme-wise, being placed something else, maybe even being thrown into like a Marvel theme. Because if you think about it, TRON doesn't necessarily fit within the scheme of Tomorrowland, at least for us.
Yeah.
I would, unless Tomorrowland got like this really big overhaul with it, then it would make sense. But like, I guess it'd be kind of cool to see those TRON light bikes going over across where like the People Mover used to be, as well as the rocket rods.
That's what I was about to say. I think that'd be really cool to see them up there.
Yeah, so I mean, you could either take that place or even go into where Innoventions is now, you know, kind of taking that place, which that track does go through there, so I mean, it would work. But I feel like they're going to probably change the theming a little bit for it. For Walt Disney World, I heard the rumor that they're going to be taking out their Autopia, essentially, and a few other things to build it. I don't know if it would make sense for them to do it TRON or not over there, but I mean, the ride system is probably going to come stateside.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah.
But just don't knock down any ride that I really love to put it in.
So what if it theoretically, if it was coming in and they had to knock down a ride in Tomorrowland, what would you be okay with them knocking down? Innoventions is a clear, obvious, you're okay with that.
Put it in California Adventure.
You would put TRON in California Adventure.
Just because I don't want to knock down anything in Disneyland.
See, now would you make it TRON, or because they're doing Guardians of the Galaxy over there now and that whole area is going to be a Marvel-themed area, would you make it a Marvel-themed attraction at that point?
I'd make
like
it
maybe
Marvel,
an Iron Man or Captain America or something cool like that. Or maybe even making it like a really intense launch coaster, make it a Hulk ride.
Maybe. It could be like Thor, like, you know how he travels on that
he travels to Asgard.
Yeah.
See, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Disney. So on to our next thing, Nikki. What's the next thing on our mouse report?
The next thing on the report is, this is not a rumor anymore, this is fact. Walt Disney World is getting gondolas, so it's kind of a throwback. Yeah,
a little bit. It kind of reminds me of the sky cabins that Disneyland used to have that went through like the Matterhorn and everything.
Yeah.
And I know that you and I had a conversation about this, I think last week or something. And I said, I don't understand how these are going to work because of constant rainstorms, lightning strikes, and things like that. Just inclement weather that happens in Orlando.
Well, they'll probably be enclosed. They probably won't be open air, so they'll probably be glass all around, kind of like I don't know, like a gondola type thing they would have in the mountains, like snowy, you know, like that type. And I think they'll work just as well as the monorail works in Walt Disney World, and we all know how well that works.
Well, we had a very bad experience with it breaking down a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't quite know. I know that the system is going to hold like 20 plus, so it could be 30, could be 30, 40 people all at one time, which would be the only way for it to be, you know, doable.
Yeah.
You know, with the amount of people that are coming through Walt Disney World. I mean, if you spread them out through boat, through monorail, through bus, through gondola, you know, I think it would lighten the load on all of those, which is great. But I still have an issue with the weather. Just because it's glass or plastic doesn't mean that it'll stop it from lightning strikes.
Well, they won't run it during lightning.
Which I feel like that would happen more often there. I don't know. This is just a concern. Clearly they don't have an issue because they filed permits to build this stuff, and they're going to be building the structure for it very, very soon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just the first thought that came to my mind just after visiting Walt Disney World and seeing how much lightning there actually was.
Well, they must have figured out that it's worth it. Like, say there's 365 days a year. You get, say, 65 days of, you know, lightning. There's still 300 days a year where it could theoretically run perfect. So they must have weighed the odds and decided it was worth it.
They're probably also going to really be attentive to the weather forecast and the people that they have on staff to make sure that this weather is coming so that they're able to shut it down in time.
Yeah.
Because the length of track that there's going to be for the gondolas.
Oh, there might be people like stuck in the middle.
Yeah. So, I mean, they would have to shut it down ahead of time and say no more people in line. We have to get the rest of the people out, or the people who are in line who just have to leave.
Yeah. Do you know where it's running from? Like from what point to what point?
The permits do say that they'll be able to connect Disney's Pop Century Resort, Art of Animation Resort, and Caribbean Beach Resort to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios.
Oh.
That's all we know right now, just based on the actual facts of the paperwork that people have been looking at. And according to Disney, they'll be able to fit wheelchairs and strollers and have a lot of significant seating, room for sitting and standing.
Uh-huh.
So these are probably going to have some heft to them.
Yeah, they're probably going to be pretty big.
Yeah, so I mean, good for them to think of like a brand new system to get people there. And this is just surprising to me that this is what they chose. Not like there's anything else they could do.
Yeah. Hey, it's a fun thing. I think people will ride it just for the novelty of it.
Can I like be transported there by whale?
You could suggest that.
Onward, convenient whale. So moving on with some more theme park news, we have some news about the construction of Mean Streak over at Cedar Pointe, which everybody knows is being made over by RMC. And you and I know RMC very, very well because we fell in love with Twisted Colossus.
Oh my gosh.
After the first drop.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately after the first drop, me and you just looked at each other and just were like, I feel like I cheated on you.
If it's anything like Twisted Colossus, I want to buy a plane ticket right now.
So the thing is that they're teasing us. They're being really mean.
Yeah.
So on Cedar Pointe's Twitter account, they posted a really cryptic video that had some like crackly Western music, and they showed some of the track that's been built. So the typical RMC I-beam tracks, stuff like that. And then all it said at the end was, "They're coming."
Ooh.
Who's coming? What's coming? What's going on? I want to know the theme. Their teasing has worked. I want to know. Cedar Pointe, tell me.
Yeah, all in good time, Gabe. All in good time.
I'm not calm like you. I want to know now.
Well, I think that's all we have for news, right, Gabe?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And on to our main topic, which we haven't even mentioned, but
my gosh.
People are listening just because, you know, they read the details, they read the title of the episode, they know what we're talking about. We're talking everything Knott's Berry Farm's Boysenberry Festival. I'm still full.
I know, so am I. It's my favorite time of year. Actually, we'll get into it, but the the one piece of food that I was the most hesitant about actually turned out to be my favorite. But
I'm actually surprised as well. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
But like she said, we'll talk about it later. We're going to start off with some of the shows that they have there. So they have quite a bit of entertainment.
Yeah, I feel like Knott's really stepped up their game this year when it comes to entertainment. I feel like there's a lot more going on this year than there was last year.
I know that you and I definitely felt a little overwhelmed to try to get to all these things, which we were not able to.
No, there's still a few things left on our list to do.
So we're going to go back and go do all these shows because we really want to see them.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we did spend a good amount of time in the wine tasting area.
Hey, that is a place that needs time and dedication.
But we still made it to a lot, so we have a lot to report on.
That's true.
Okay, what's one of the first things that we went to?
So I know that we saw the history of the Boysenberry and Knott's Berry Farm, which is in Ghost Town at the town hall.
Yes.
And that's just a video that's on loop in the town hall, which is over right by the schoolhouse and right across the way from where the wine tasting and the beer tasting is. And essentially it's just a video on loop talking about the history of the Boysenberry, where it came from, how Walter Knott and his wife started everything in their life leading up into the point to where they really became famous for the Boysenberry.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and it was a nice little break in the day. You know, you just sit down, watch this little video, and get some information you might not have known. And
you run into a lot of people in here that clearly are really interested in the history. We ran into Hendel, fan of the show, friend of the show, and he had his Catawampers vest on, and he was really interested in the video, like we were. It was very moving. It was very moving. Like it got me reclaimed because of how emotional it got you about the history of Knott's Berry Farm, as well as just Walter Knott and the hard work that he put into getting to where he was able to go.
Yeah, the video was very well done, very nostalgic.
Very, very nostalgic. So, what was some of the other stuff that we saw?
Well, something that's not really entertainment, well, it kind of was, but it was more interactive, was at Calico Park, which is the place right across the street, or not across the street, across the way from the train station. It's like the little open area, and they just had fun and games there. They had like
they had like a big list of things that happened there.
Yeah, there are things happening throughout the day. The one that we sat down and watched was
is the balloon challenge,
a balloon popping contest, and so they invited kids and their families up, and they were popping balloons, and they got prizes at the end. It was a lot of fun to watch.
It was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff happening in between the times that was up on the board. So if anybody's interested to see what shows are happening that day, make sure to head over to that part of the park. It's right in front of the saloon, and there's a sign that shows you the times and the names of each thing that are happening. I know that later in the night when we walked by, they were doing dancing and like organized dancing and all this stuff, and there was a lot of people there. Like there was a ton of people dancing. They were having fun. They were having a blast. Bellies full of boysenberry, having a great time.
It's fuel. It's dance and fuel.
Boysenberry fuel. Trump, make that work. I don't know. Boysenberry fuel.
The fuel of the future is boysenberry.
Fuel of the future.
Thank you, Walter Knott.
That sounds like a show.
Fuel of the future.
I think it's because it's Phil of the future.
Maybe.
I think that's why it sounds like it's a show.
Okay.
I digress.
So there's everything that goes on in Camp Snoopy. There's the stage show, and then there's also a really cute photo op with Snoopy dressed as the Easter Bunny. It's so cute. In
the very purple Easter Bunny suit. Imagine what Ralphie looked like in the Christmas Story, but put on Snoopy, and it's purple. And that's exactly what it looks like.
So cute. We actually got in line, but he went on a break, and so we didn't get a picture with him. But we got a picture last year.
Yeah, Snoopy had his eyes on a smoke break rather than taking pictures with us. Made me a little sad. But at least I had a beer in my hand, so I was not too sad. But yeah, and then moving on from there, they had the old-time melodrama, which took place in the Birdcage Theater. That was one of the things that we really wanted to go see, and it wasn't in the cards. It was not in the cards.
We're going back for that one.
Yes, and then they also had Snoopy's Boysenberry Jamboree, which took place at the Calico Mine stage, which we watched.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
What were your thoughts on this? Because it wasn't your typical show. It was actually very different. The production value was through the roof. It seemed like it was very well done.
It was well done, but for it being Snoopy's Jamboree, Snoopy wasn't in it very much.
Yeah, there was. The thing is that the show was kind of set up like there was little pieces with the Peanuts gang, And Snoopy was there, and he did his thing. And then they would go away, and there'd be these huge musical numbers with dancing and singing. But that wasn't connected to the story. Like, the songs were loosely connected to what was going on with the Peanuts gang.
Barely connected.
Barely connected. And, I mean, the songs were great. The quality was great. The singing was great. The dancing was great. The choreography was great. The issue is that the cohesiveness of that story, and then people, usually when you have like dancing and singing in a show, those characters who are dancing and singing are part of the story.
Yeah. But
they weren't. They would just come out and do their bit. So it was just a little confusing. And then, I mean, they were doing a lot of like 30s and 40s songs and a variety of things, but that didn't bother me as much as like the story.
Yeah. No, I agree. But it was still fun to watch.
Oh my God, it was a blast. And Snoopy's beyond cute and fun to look at. He comes out with like the boysenberry all over his face, and he comes out dressed up. He's stealing the eggs from Lucy. You know, all the typical Charlie Brown, Snoopy shenanigans that you can think of. It's in the show. Yeah. I mean, I found myself smiling and tapping my foot the entire time.
Yeah. My advice is grab something to eat and get there early so you can sit on a haystack.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Unless you're allergic to hay like I am. So don't do that.
Then steer clear.
Yeah, that was a really bad trip to the hayride when I learned about that. After that, they also have the Ghost Town Miners, which that stage is over by the Liverly stable. Poor animals.
It's by the Fireman's Barbecue joint.
Yeah. So it's exactly what you would assume. It's just a band playing their music, you know, typical bluegrass music. Something I didn't notice was the main guy who's singing is actually the hangman from The Hanging for Scary Farm, but he's the hangman who's like the funny hangman. Yeah. Making all the terrible jokes. And I really wanted him to say something inappropriate, but I knew he wouldn't because he's not Scary Farm. And it made me sad.
It's not the right time of year.
No, but they did do a good job.
They did. It was really fun.
Yeah, they're tapping our feet, singing along. They had kids go up and play washboards and things like that. So it was also interactive for the kids as well.
Yeah. And next we have Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies. And this was at the Wagon Camp stage. Now, where exactly is that?
The Wagon Camp stage is actually it's in the, it's where the stunt show is.
Okay.
That's the Wagon Camp stage.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was actually called that.
Yeah, there's a really big sign that says Wagon Camp stage.
Oh, I just call it the stunt show area.
It's called the Wagon Camp stage. It says it on the big sign.
Okay, I'll read signs more.
The marquee should have told you.
I'm sorry, Gabe.
So whatever.
I'll read signs more. You just tell me where to go. You're a little bit more like geographically inclined in theme parks than I am, so I just follow you.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thanks, I guess. Then after that, there is the Fiesta Village with DJ Cruz. So let's imagine just exactly what you can imagine. Yeah. It's the typical music that they have nowadays for the kiddies.
Yeah.
When I say kiddies, I mean like 16-year-olds who listen to this music, whatever they call it music. I sound old.
Those darn teenagers.
Get off my lawn. Some of it's good. It's just I can't connect with it. Yeah. What are you going to do? And then after that, there's the 80s dance party in the Boardwalk Ballroom.
This is a lot of fun.
So this isn't just the 80s dance party. This is Cloud 9. They're recreating Cloud 9, which used to be back in the 80s in that exact spot at Knott's Berry Farm. Mm-hmm. And our friends Jeff Tucker and Rachel Tucker. Jeff works at Knott's Berry Farm, and everybody knows Rachel from 91 Reasons, which is Jeff's show, which you guys should check out. 91 Reasons, an incredible podcast with Jeff Tucker. She used to go to Cloud 9 all the time. Or was it the other one? Studio K. No, Jeff Tucker would go to Studio K and she would go to Cloud 9 or something like that, and they would vice versa. And he heard like Cloud9. People at Cloud 9 would like do drugs or something, and she's like, "What? We didn't do drugs."
Where is the story going?
No.
Listen to 91 Reasons.
Yeah, listen to 91 Reasons. But it's a conversation they were having. But she was in there. She was dancing the night away. You walk in, there's these light up clouds on the ceiling. They have smoke shooting off.
There were retro games in the corner.
Retro games, pumping music. And there was a lot of kids dancing. There was a lot of kids ranging from ages 7 to 21 dancing to this music. And it wasn't all 80s music.
It was newer music.
I mean, they played 80s music. It just wasn't all 80s music like they were promoting.
Yeah.
But who cares? I mean, and one of the things and we saw Jeff in there, he was in there kind of just monitoring and kind of dancing, having a good time because he was working.
Yeah.
He said, and I totally agree with this, he said that kids aren't really allowed to just go dance and go have fun. Those things don't often happen. I mean, yes, kids have dances that they go to, like prom and winter formal and things like that. But
with
those are
teachers at every corner.
yeah. But I mean, like, those are very much like established, controlled environments, and there's no real place where they could just go and just dance whenever they want.
Yeah.
That doesn't often happen. I mean, there's clubs, but that's more about grinding and hooking up.
Oh my goodness.
Else.
You're going so many places with
Well, it's true.
No, I get you. This is like a fun, safe place to just have like a good time.
Just let loose.
Yeah.
Have a good time. And that's what was going on. And it made me really happy to see a lot of people in that environment having a good time. And going to theme parks and things like this aren't always about me having fun. It's kind of like, it's weird. Theme parks, I mean, they are about you having a good time, but I mean, it's almost like the collective group of people at that park. Like, if you see a big group of people, like, say, at a show at Disney, just like beyond happy clapping, that makes you happy to see people having a really good time.
Yeah.
Same thing in this situation. You see a whole bunch of those kids dancing with their parents dancing, not even thinking about it, that you're not thinking about the age gap, that everyone's just having a good time. It makes you smile.
Yeah, I agree.
So, the 80s dance party was really, really cool. They have a speaker outside, so they're playing whatever they're playing inside. You can hear it from outside, and it's just drawing people in.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really fun. And that kind of wraps it up for like what kind of entertainment they have at Knott's Berry Farm and for the Boysenberry Festival. And it's, like we said, it's overwhelming how much stuff there is.
Oh, yeah. But we still haven't even gotten to the food yet.
And this is Nikki's favorite part.
Yeah.
Just the food.
Yeah.
Food alone. I think food is your favorite thing in the world.
No.
I think it's food and then me and then you.
I like food, but no, it's not the most important thing.
That's a lie.
There's lots of other things like puppies and sleeping and reading books. I like lots of things.
You're boring.
A little, yes, I am.
So one of your dreams is to come across a box of puppies randomly.
Yes, that is one of my dreams.
You told me that on our first date, I believe, and I'm pretty sure you turned red.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
I said that would have been awesome, coming across a box of puppies.
It's on my bucket list. I want to find a box of puppies, and I want to love them.
If anybody would like to help me make that dream come true, contact us at themepark2@gmail.com.
I will cry.
She will cry from happiness to find a box of puppies. So, would it matter if you got to keep the puppies or not?
Well, I'd keep one.
Well, no, I mean, like, what if it was just a box of puppies, you found it, you're like, oh my god, a box of puppies, but you didn't get to keep any of them?
Oh, I'd be a little sad.
But would it cross it off your bucket list?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. So contact us at Gmail. No, I'm just joking. So, when we went to Knott's Berry Farm, honestly, the best way to do Boysenberry Festival is to get a tasting card.
Yes.
Because those are $25, but you're getting 6 different foods to try.
And honestly, most years, we didn't do it this year, but most years, Gabe and I would share one tasting card and we'd be satisfied.
Yeah,
you
it really would.
You eat it throughout the day, you snack throughout the day instead of having like a big lunch, something like that.
Yeah, because you could easily get like the boysenberry pulled pork sandwich, which is massive and it comes with chips, and that's a whole meal in and out of itself.
Yeah.
You could get something like that, or you get the tasting card and just kind of sporadically, like you said, you're going to have snacks throughout the day.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it. And also it saves you money and it gives you variety. What else can you ask for?
Yeah, and if there's one or two extra things that aren't on the tasting card, then you're like, okay, I don't mind getting that either.
Yeah, because you feel like you saved money doing it this way.
Yeah.
So the things that were on the tasting card this year were the boysenberry meatballs, the fry bread, the buffalo, or not buffalo, but it was boysenberry barbecue sauce chicken wings, boysenberry ravioli, boysenberry panna cotta, and the boysenberry pizza.
Okay, should we talk about one at a time?
Yeah, we'll talk one at a time. So
Okay.
we'll start off with the meatballs. So the meatballs, if it weren't for the boysenberry barbecue sauce on it, I wouldn't be a fan.
Yeah, so they're just average, mediocre meatballs.
Kinda.
Yeah.
And the barbecue sauce really made them much, much better because their boysenberry barbecue sauce has a lot of different notes to it. It's actually a little complex. It isn't just like a one note, oh, it's sweet barbecue sauce. There's a lot of little things in there if you actually sit down and think about it while you're tasting it. So it actually turned these mediocre meatballs into actually something that was really, really good.
Well, that's good. And you can buy that stuff by the bottle, by the way, all year round. So
they sell them everywhere, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, throughout the park, they sell them out front in the stores. You don't even have to go in the park to get the Boysenberry goodness. It's in the stores out front.
Yeah, so stock up on Boysenberry barbecue sauce. It's worth it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, next is the fry bread. And oh my gosh, this was fantastic. It was fry bread, which is like, Gabe, can you explain that a little bit?
So fry bread is actually a typical Native American food. Mm-hmm. I'm Native American, and at UCLA, where I went to school, in the American Indian Student Association, we would make fry bread all the time, and it would be at the powwows. It's essentially just a deep-fried piece of dough, but the dough is very special. Like, it's made in a very different way. And when you deep fry it, it becomes crispy on the outside, very fluffy and light on the inside.
And then this one, they turned into like a dessert-type fry bread. So they put like cinnamon sugar on the outside, and wait for it, they stuff the inside with boysenberry and Nutella. Oh my gosh.
It was a really, really good mixture.
It was so good.
Now, the consistency of the fry bread isn't what I consider fry bread. It's very different.
Of course.
But it doesn't take away from how delicious it was.
It was so good.
It was really good. And it was actually better than I expected because I'm a little jaded. I've had really good fry bread.
Yeah.
And this was really freaking good.
Well,
like, we both bit into it, and we looked at each other and we're like, this is much better than I thought it was going to be. Oh my God. Do you want yours?
Well, something coated in cinnamon sugar, filled with Nutella
it's
and
hard not to like it.
Yeah. It was so good. It's a little bit messy. You gotta be careful when you're eating it.
You have to do the spread the legs out a little bit, lean forward and put your elbows on the table,
and try not to drip one bit of Nutella on the ground.
I mean, if you're well, yeah, but also if you're coming to Knott's Berry Farm for the Boysenberry Festival wearing anything like wearing a white shirt or anything other than a dark colored shirt, you're asking for trouble.
Very true.
So, moving on to the next piece of food was the chicken wings with the barbecue sauce on it again. Mm-hmm. So this is the same barbecue sauce that was on the meatballs. So they have their chicken wings. The chicken wings alone, they were okay. Yeah. But adding the barbecue sauce, once again, really takes it up to that next level.
Yeah.
I'm picky about my wings. I like them deep fried and crispy as opposed to kind of boiled.
Yeah.
So that's just how I like mine.
I'm picky about wings because I don't really like them because they're messy.
I finished mine before you finished too.
Well, they're so messy. You cannot eat them without getting sauce all over your face, and you have to like pick around the bones. It's not worth it.
See, what you don't get is that you're not supposed to care.
I care.
You're not supposed to care. You're just and just eat them all.
Okay, literally the only times I've eaten wings in the past 3 or 4 years is at the Boysenberry Festival.
Really?
Really.
I could have sworn you've had wings other times.
No.
Really? I'm shocked. And I spent all that time with you and I still didn't know.
But it's the only time for me it's worth it because they're in the Boysenberry barbecue sauce.
It's not like I'm keeping track of your Boysenberry wing quota.
I don't like stressful food, Gabe.
What qualifies it as stressful food?
It's messy and you have to you can't just eat it. You have to eat a round bone. Why would you want to do that?
Because it tastes real good.
No, it's not that good.
You have problems.
Okay. No, but the wings were good in the boysenberry sauce, and for people who like wings, not crazy people like me, it was good.
True.
Okay, next, this one, looking at it, you might be a little iffy, but it was actually surprisingly tasty, and that's the ravioli.
Yeah, so it wasn't visually appealing.
They're bright purple.
At all, and it was sitting on this congealed white sauce. And then random red tomatoes, which I figured they just were it needs color other than purple.
But despite all that, if you dig your fork in and take a bite, it's pretty good.
It was really, really, really tasty.
Yeah.
That white sauce, I'm not quite sure what it was, but it added a different level of taste to the boysenberry ravioli, because I think if we ate the boysenberry ravioli on itself, it did have quite a sweeter taste than you would expect.
Yeah.
But that white sauce really brought the savory in, so it was able to balance it out quite nicely. Mm-hmm. So I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, like we said, it look at it, you're like, I could do without this, but just trust us and try it. It was really, 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 really good.
Yes.
I feel like there's going to be like a pattern for the show today is it's really, really, really good.
Everything was good.
It's pretty much like there's nothing that was super disappointing.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff that was like better than others, but nothing was disappointing, not in the least bit.
Yeah.
So.
What's next, Gabe?
Panna cotta, which is an Italian dessert, I guess. It's like kind of like not a custard, but like kind of closer to a yogurt, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. But we actually passed on this one just because we didn't have time and we were kind of full.
Yeah.
But we'd had it the year prior and we loved it. It's a perfect dessert and it's not too sweet and it worked out really well for like the last thing that you're eating.
Yeah, I think we were already kind of sweeted out by the fry bread.
Yeah, I think the fry bread was actually the last thing we ate before the panna cotta.
Yeah, we just weren't ready.
And we were just not ready, and then we ended up leaving before that. But we'll probably end up going back and getting the tasting card again.
Probably, yeah.
I feel like a boysenberry pig.
Okay, so the last thing on the list, which turned out to be my favorite thing.
This is the thing you teased at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. It's the moment. Okay, it's the Boysenberry pizza, and I saw a picture of this before we went, like weeks before we went. They put out a promotional picture and it was this bright purple pizza, and I was like, nope, no way, I'm not gonna like it. And yeah, it was really good. It was very, very good. I've never had purple pizza before. It was delicious.
It was actually really, really well balanced. So it seemed like it had like a boysenberry jam sauce that was kind of drizzled on top with arugula, chunks of ham, goat cheese, and then the like boysenberry sauce that was underneath. Yeah. The goat cheese and the arugula and the ham all balanced out the sweetness of the boysenberry because you had the bitterness of the arugula, you had the savory and salty from the ham, as well as the savory from the goat cheese. All worked, and the bread ultimately, like the dough, really makes or breaks the pizza too. Yeah. The dough on this was really, really good.
It was good. It wasn't too heavy. It wasn't too thin.
It was really light. Yeah. It was airy, which was nice. Yeah. So that ended up being one of our favorite things we ate all day. Yeah. Nikki's favorite thing all day wasn't any of these things, though, is my point here. And like we had mentioned, we spent quite a bit of time in the beer and wine tasting area. So if you go over there, which like I had said, it's by the schoolhouse and by town hall, you could go in and get a tasting card instead of just buying like a glass. I guess you actually have to get a tasting card, right?
I think you have to get a tasting card for the wine, but you can buy the beer by the glass because there's a beer cart outside.
Yes. So if you get the tasting card, you actually get a plate of fruit, nuts, cheeses, and crackers. Now, this is Nikki's favorite thing in the world because it's small little itty-bitty pieces of food that you can just pick up and nibble at.
I literally said, as soon as we got the plate and we sat down, I was like, I could live off of this forever.
You're like a mouse.
Just fruit and cheese and crackers. You're like a mouse. Little bite-sized things. I don't... See, that is not stressful food. That is stress-free food.
That's stressful for me because I have to like balance. I can't just like throw it into my mouth. I have to think about like how much I want to bite of each thing, because if I want to save that piece of cheese with that cracker with this beer, then I have to do that, and I have to think about what I'm eating. I don't want to think about it. I just want to eat.
You're overthinking it.
No, yeah, I'm not. You're overthinking wings.
Maybe. I don't deny that. How do you get the meat out of the middle? You know, the wing where
you
it's
separate the bone.
Oh, no, that means I have to touch it.
Well, you're touching it anyway.
Oh, gosh. I'm stressing out just thinking about it.
Going off of our fighting about chicken wings, moving into the beer and wine tasting, Nikki looks like a little mouse with her hands on the cheese and just like eating it in the corner.
I did get wine, too.
You did get wine. You did the same thing with the wine.
No.
You swirled it off in the corner, just like making sure nobody were like eyeballs out, making sure nobody would come over.
For later.
Exactly, but
it was good.
This is the place where adults get to go, and the one thing out of all of it that I think you would agree with, and I think somebody actually brought up in the group we were in, was that needs to be 21 and over. Only.
It does. There were kids running around the inside.
There was kids were like literally jumping off of the stage inside there, causing havoc.
Yeah.
You know, there's moms like feeding their babies in there and stuff. This should be a place for adults to go, especially because it is literally just alcohol. There's nothing else in there.
Yeah. It's not like at Christmas where there's like spiked eggnog, but then Santa's in there too. It's like there's no reason why kids should be in there unless the parents want to go, you know, have a drink while they're with their children. Maybe save that for another time.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a babysitter.
Exactly.
I don't know if we sound like...
No, I think it's a legitimate thing. I mean,
Okay.
yes, Knott's Berry Farm is a place for families.
But they're having this thing. They are purposefully having this thing that is purely for adults.
There's literally nothing in there for children to do.
Yeah.
Other than causing problems like we saw them doing.
Problems, yeah.
Like they were jumping off the stage, pulling on plugs.
Yeah.
You know, which is also the parents' issues, like not watching their kids whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just when you're in there trying to have a good time and people who are in there legitimately trying to wine taste and taste things,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want screaming kids and stuff, which it comes with the theme park, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. But, in general, I love this area because you get to try all the different wines.
Yeah.
And they also have boysenberry beer and boysenberry cider.
Boysenberry cider. They need to have that year round. It is
It's
so
really
good.
freaking good.
And the thing that was happening throughout the day, people were saying, mix the two together, get half and half. And it was actually really good. I even got that for one of my tastes.
Yeah, so Nikki doesn't like beer at all.
Mm-mm.
Like, at all.
At all.
And she added the cider to the beer, and she loved it.
It, like, lightened it up.
It did lighten it up, you know, like, I even had the beer, and I was like, oh, the beer's really good, but, I mean, like, it's a little heavy. So if you split the two off and have it mixed, it allows you to be happy with it without feeling, like, heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was actually quite nice. I really enjoyed it that way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than I would have.
Yeah. Now, the boysenberry wine is another story. I know some people like it, but it's way too sweet for me.
So it's a dessert wine. It
Yeah.
really is a dessert wine. So you don't like ports.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so if you don't like ports, you're not going to like this. I actually didn't like it last year. Last year, I hated it.
Yeah.
I tried it again this year, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah.
Maybe I've matured.
Maybe you just knew what to expect. I think last year it just like smacked us in the face because
Oh my
we didn't know
God,
what to
sweet.
expect. You know, we got the taste of it and we sipped it. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
That's true. I mean,
We
I
were
think
warned this year.
I think we were expecting a normal wine, but a little sweeter.
Yeah.
A little sweeter,
Hint
not
of boysenberry.
not a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I enjoyed it a bit more, and we got to spend some really nice time with Rick West and Johanna from Theme Park Adventure, and obviously Midsummer Scream. So we were talking a lot about that stuff when we were there. So we spent some really nice time with them. But yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up Boysenberry Festival. I mean, other than that, there was really, really, really long lines for merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
Like longer than I would have ever expected.
Well, it was opening day. So it was a busy day that we went. And
That's true.
But I think on a Saturday, it's going to be crowded like that, you know?
True. And I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that they have, like, the crafts. So they have all the booths with different, you know, things that people make. Art, clothing, headbands, jewelry, food, soaps, like, all these different things.
I still want a hat that looks like a boysenberry pie.
Pretty sure you could buy that year-round.
I know, but I still want one. They're so cute. And this year I saw that they have little, like, hair clips that look like tiny little boysenberry pies.
I got pie on my head, but don't call me a pie head. Annie Melanakis reference. That's right. I did it. So what? You want to fight about it? Yeah, I'm weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving forward, there was one booth that I actually enjoyed. There was a woman there that was selling her brittle. And it was all these different types of brittle. And we went up, and she gave us a sample, and it happened to be her cashew brittle with boysenberry on
It
it.
was so good.
It tasted like Trix cereal. I'm not even joking.
It really did.
Legitimately, like, if you were to just take a handful of Trix and shove it in your mouth and start chewing, that is what this brittle tasted like. It was amazing. It was so good.
It was so good. We didn't buy a bag, though. I think it's too dangerous. We would have eaten it all right there.
It would have been gone before the time that we got home. We would have eaten it all. Which happened to some of the stuff that we got during the day.
We didn't even mention the boysenberry beef jerky.
They have boysenberry beef jerky, which if you like beef jerky, you'll like this. It's a bit sweeter than you would expect, but it also has a slight kick to it, which makes it a little bit more appealing. And I ate the entire bag before we even got home. I ate the bag before we left the park. It was gone.
You gave a few pieces to friends to try, but
I gave itty bitty pieces because I'm going to squirrel it away. But I mean, I fell in love immediately. Oh my God. It was so good.
So we're buying another bag the next time?
Oh, we're going to buy like 10 so I don't have to worry about it. So I don't know how many bags you want, but I'm getting 10 for myself. You know, this is just my personal boysenberry beef jerky stash.
That's okay. I'll buy something else. I'll find something else I want.
And the thing is that I'm not going to put them in the cabinet. I'm just going to scatter them throughout the apartment so that just like wherever I am, I'm just going to like reach down and just have a piece of beef jerky randomly in my hand. You don't even know where it came from.
You forget where you hid a bag. You find it in like 10 years. You're like, oh my gosh.
And you know what? It's probably still good because it's all sealed up.
Probably.
Covered in sugar.
Even if it's not, you'll still eat it.
I don't know. I could not tell you whether or not I would or would not eat that piece of beef jerky 10 years later.
You probably would.
It'd probably be really tough. I'd probably do it on a dare. If anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sums up the Boysenberry Festival. There's so much to do and so much to cover, so much to taste, so much to eat.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're going to go back and try some of the stuff that wasn't on the tasting card because, you know, they have the churros filled with the boysenberry jam. They have, like I said, the boysenberry bread with the boysenberry barbecue sauce, pulled pork sandwiches. You know, there's a whole bunch of other things that you can get that aren't on the tasting card. Mm-hmm. So those are like the really exciting things. It's like you're gambling. It's like it's a little bit more expensive than the tasting card. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting a whole thing. I hope it's good.
They still have
Which, guess what? They are. Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm. They still have the alligator with the boysenberry aioli.
Oh my God,
That's
that was
still good.
Killer.
That used to be on the tasting card.
I was sad that was not on the tasting card. But I'm glad I didn't have to wait in that really ridiculously long line in a very small spot.
Yeah.
So
there'll be a shorter line when we go to get it now.
The longest line there was during the day was for the wings.
No, it wasn't. Mm-mm.
What was the longest?
No, it was the fry bread.
No, the fry bread line wasn't long. The fry bread people just took forever.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
No, there's a difference because the wings didn't take long. They were like, bup, bup, here you go, bup, bup, here you go, bup, bup, here you go. And that line was stretched way past the Ghost Rider entrance, like past the panning for cold.
I think we're both using different definitions of the word long.
So it took a long time to wait in line for the fry bread. The line was short, but it took a long time because they had 4 people working in a station that was maybe 3 feet long trying to make all these things and hand them out to people. And it just didn't work. They need to find a better system in order to get it out to customers.
They need to move that to a bigger kitchen.
Move it to a bigger kitchen. And then for the wings, it didn't take long for them to give it to people. It was just the line was really long.
Just a long line of people.
Just a really long line of people.
Yeah.
So that was that. But it's also like the first thing people see. So just like any event or anything that you can think of theme park wise, the first thing people see are probably the first thing they're going to go do. Which happened to be the wings.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, a lot of people didn't know about the tasting cards at all.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd be walking around the park and walking by some of the booths where they're selling the food. Not selling the food, but, I mean, handing out the food. And people are like, oh, it's free food. And it's like, it's not free food. You have to purchase the tasting card.
This is a theme park. Why would you think anything is free?
I think there just needs to be a little bit more signage for some of the stuff. I mean, yeah, they were handing out, like, the special maps and stuff that showed where things were. And it said, like, hey, tasting cards, but people are dumb. People don't look. You need to have it the size of a freaking football field for people to be like, oh, I have to buy that? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that just happens. And the same thing with, like, people being able to find some of the booths. You know, obviously, like, the meatballs and the chicken wings, because they were specific booths that they built for the Boysenberry Festival, were much easier to find than, like, the fry bread.
And the pizza.
The pizza was over in the Wagon Wheel Pizza, which is right across the way from Ghost Rider.
The Ghost Rider exit.
It's
way in the corner.
Yeah, and then
the panna cotta is in the little bakery that's also
which is right there. And then the fry bread was over by where you get churros right across the way from the saloon.
Yeah.
But those signs that they have, which are little boysenberry hanging signs and little numbers, I just don't feel are big enough. Yeah, I think they could have been bigger to get people's attention.
Yeah, I agree.
Know. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think the event as a whole is an extreme success. You know, it feels like it got a lot bigger than it was last year.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to it every year. I feel like they're trying to compete with, like, the Food and Wine Festival at Disney. And honestly, I like Boysenberry Festival more.
Oh, sacrilege.
Gasp!
Gasp.
It's a little less stressful, a little less expensive. I like it.
I mean, the variety isn't necessarily there, I guess, because everything is Boysenberry, but that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
So you know what you're getting when you walk in, with it being called Boysenberry Festival.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ultimately, I have to agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's going on at the same time as the Food and Wine is at California Adventure, and I would choose this over that.
Yeah.
One, because the crowds are technically a little bit less as bad.
Yeah.
Not as bad, but also just the amount that you're getting for the price that you're paying is much better. So if you were to compare the $25 that you're paying for the tasting card and how much food you're getting, which is a slice of pizza, 2 raviolis, 4 meatballs, I'd say about 6 wings,
A big fry bread.
and a panna cotta for $25, as opposed to maybe 2 things that you could get at Disney for $25.
Well, because each thing at Disney is like $8-9.
Yeah,
and the
they're
sizes
expensive.
are not that big.
If anything, I just get something to drink.
Yeah. You know what I found out?
What?
The annual pass Food and Wine Festival.
The tasting?
Yeah, that's not for alcoholic beverages.
Really?
Really.
Lame.
I know. I instantly didn't want it anymore.
Was there another one that you can get, or you just have to
No.
buy the drink separate?
You just have to buy the alcoholic drink separate.
How much is that? Do you know?
I don't remember. $40 or something? 45?
That's still saving you some money.
I might have... That might be misinformation. I don't know if that's the right price.
Okay.
I just said that off the top of my head.
From what I heard, I know that for whatever price it is, people have said that it saves you some money.
Yeah, if you don't want alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, but then you have to buy all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which adults are going to want that, especially having to sit through It's a Small World 6 times.
It would save you money just on food alone, I think, because, like I said, each piece of food is like $8, $9, $10. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like we were saying, I'd choose Boysenberry Festival over Food and Wine. Is it Food and Wine? Is it called Food and Wine?
It's called Food and Wine, yeah.
Food and Wine at Disney's California Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Disney California Adventure, my apologies. You know, both are really good events. I think it's just more about taste. For you and I, we prefer a little bit of the laid back, not having to worry about it, and getting more for the price that we're paying at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah.
We do have to take into account the fact that you and I both have passes.
Yeah.
So we're getting in for, quote, free, air quotes again. We're getting in for free, so we're not paying a ticket to get in.
Yeah.
So whatever the tickets are, plus the $25 per person to have a tasting card.
Yeah.
I guess it can get pricey, but I think that people coming to a theme park already know what they're getting themselves into when it comes to money.
Yeah.
So I guess that's not truly an issue.
Mm-hmm. But if you think you're going to buy lunch there anyway at the park, you know, so you might as well buy the tasting card.
Yeah, you might as well get the tasting card and spread it around to all the kids, because guess what? All the kids are going to want something different anyway. You can let them choose off of the tasting card, and then they each have their meal from that. I mean, kids don't eat that much anyway.
Yeah.
And they'll probably end up being happy, and then you save money instead of paying $15 to $16 for one meal, and the kid's not going to finish it all.
Yep.
You can bring snacks, and parents always do.
Yeah.
So, like we said, we think that Boysenberry Festival is an incredible event. We have to say thanks to Knott's Berry Farm for bringing us over for Media Day, to really giving us such an incredible day. It's so much fun to be had there. So thank you so much to them. And we really highly suggest that you check out Knott's Berry Farm's Boysenberry Festival when you can. It is running from April 1st all the way to April 23rd, correct?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
So
lots of time still to go.
Exactly. And honestly, go multiple times. You don't have to do anything you don't have to do everything like one shot. Don't stress yourself out. You know, go there, have a nice day, have a couple of things, or get the tasting card and then come back another day, do the wine and beer tasting.
Yeah, go on a few rides, maybe before a lot of the food tasting.
Exactly. I mean, like, we went on the Tamer rides, we went on Log Ride and Mine Ride and kind of just chilled out after we really spread everything out. And that's kind of what it's about, to just relax, have a nice day at the park. And it's not about sweating and running ride to ride. It's about relaxing, having a good time. And I think that's what Boysenberry does really, really well.
Yeah.
Is it conveys that attitude as opposed to running from ride to ride.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we were to give Boysenberry Festival a rating out of 10. 10 being top notch, best thing ever. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And then 1 being fart in your general direction.
Whoa.
Monty Python reference. What would you give it?
I'd probably give it a solid 7. I think there's room for improvement. Of course, there always is. There's a few things specifically I had little gripes with, but overall, this is a good event. So 7, I'd say.
I'd probably end up giving it an 8. I was really impressed with what the changes they made. I was really impressed with the changes they made from last year, as well as the upgrade in some of the things that they've done, as well as the improvement in entertainment. And then also just the type of food that they're offering. It's really ranging now, because last year and the year before, it didn't really stray too far away. And we like those boysenberry ketchup and a hot dog.
Yeah,
they had the barbecue sauce and things like that.
It was mostly like the toppings that were boysenberry,
Yeah,
but like the pizza this year, oh my gosh!
I felt like they kind of really stretched the limits of boysenberry and did a really good job. So I'd give them an 8 out of 10 if I were to give them a score.
Yeah.
And we had a blast. Go check it out, Knotts.com. Buy your tickets and make sure you go have a blast at the Boysenberry Festival this year.
You won't regret it.
Not at all. Your tummies will be happy with your decision.
Yeah.
So, that ends our episode today. Yeah!
It was a really fun episode.
I'm just hungry now.
A little bit, yeah. But, Knott's needed some love. We haven't given Knott's its own episode yet, so I'm really happy.
No, because you and I are really big Knott's Berry Farm fans. We love Knott's Berry Farm a lot.
We do.
We have our special place for Knott's in our hearts.
Yeah.
We love all theme parks. We love Six Flags. We love SeaWorld. We love Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, and Knott's Berry Farm. There's always a place for all of them, but there's just something about the charm of Knott's Berry Farm that, a lot of places don't necessarily have.
Yeah.
And it's the same charm that Disney has, but it's just a little different.
A little less crowded.
I think it's the fact that it's a little less crowded, but also the fact that I feel like Knott's may just be a little rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
if that's the correct terminology.
Like an unpolished gemstone, whereas Disneyland is like fully polished.
Yeah. I guess that would be the way of putting it. But I mean, I love everything about Knott's Berry Farm, and it's so much fun to go.
Yeah.
So but moving on, guess what?
What?
Guess what?
Guess?
I'm telling you to guess. I said, guess what?
Aliens just landed outside our apartment.
Yes, but more.
Oh my gosh. Why are we talking about anything else if there's aliens outside?
Because they're just being stupid.
Okay. What?
It's just their spaceship broke down outside, and they keep kicking people in the gonads to say thank you.
Oh my gosh. They don't know our culture very well.
They don't know our culture very well.
Or do they? Did they watch like Ridiculousness and they're like, that's how you greet people here?
No, we actually have another 5-star written review.
Awesome.
This actually showed up right after we recorded our last episode, so we weren't actually able to include it within last episode. So it says, most excellent podcast by Magic Bud. So thank you so much for leaving that 5-star written review. I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
I wonder.
And I do have to say that I love him as well. And he's awesome. And he's a very good magician.
Yes.
And make sure to keep an eye out for him at places like Downtown Disney. Oh, yes. Anyway, also one little piece of news that I wanted to share before finishing everything up. I was lucky enough to go into another show, Nikki.
You were, and I listened to it. It was a lot of fun.
You listened to the show in your car, but then you could also hear me from the other side of our wall.
I try not to listen.
Because you want to be surprised.
Yeah, I want to listen to the show fresh.
So I was on Nightmare on Fear Street podcast, where they read R.L. Stine books that happen to be choose your own adventure.
That's so fun.
It's really, really fun. It's a really, really good concept. And, when I first listened to it, I was like, oh, people choosing my decisions for me. I don't know how much I'm into that. But I found myself yelling at the radio, like, no, choose the other one. What are you doing?
I did that when you were reading.
I know, but I made really good decisions
sometimes.
Up until a certain point. I thought I was making great decisions, and then it just took a left turn. To really bad stuff.
Well, listen to the episode, people, and find out what decisions he made.
So for this episode, we actually did an Indiana Jones book That's Choose Your Own Adventure, because they know that very much I am a huge Indiana Jones fan. And so it's actually written by R.L. Stine, which, funny enough, who knew? I think he started writing those before his Goosebumps books, but I feel like he probably should have done a little bit more research, because some of the things that Andy did and said didn't really make too much sense.
Yeah, there's some funny lines in there.
Yeah, I'd say so. But make sure to head over to iTunes, search Nightmare on Fear Street, and listen to the Indiana Jones episode, the one that I'm on, and also give them a 5-star written review as well. They rock. They're fun. Really good concept. It's really, really fun. Just make sure to go listen to it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to connect with the show, we have a lot of different ways that you can connect with us. So you can actually email us at themeparkduo@gmail.com.
And you can find us everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Theme Park Duo.
Exactly. And we're also on Periscope. We love periscoping from the parks.
Oh, we do, yeah.
And we end up being a little silly on there sometimes, just pointing it at random stuff or asking people, what should we do, and giving them options. It's like our own Choose Your Own Adventure for people who live vicariously through us.
Yeah.
I think we should ask people, like, should we go on a ride or go eat the gray stuff at Disneyland one time? And
we
like, eat the gray stuff. It's like, okay, I'll eat something for you, and you could watch me, I guess?
Yeah, so we ate the gray stuff in the rain because people told us to.
That was bad decision.
It was
it was good. The gray stuff was good. It was very, very good.
Yeah. Well, Gabe, where can they find you?
They can find me at Laker793 on Twitter.
And you can find me at Nikki M_313, and that's NIKKI, 2 Ks.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, people spell it NICKY and NIKI and weird.
NICCI?
No, I've never seen that one. I don't know. But I love it when people ask me, like, the baristas at Starbucks, like, is that KK or CK? And I'm like, oh, thank you for asking. It's KK. Or like, no, I judge people by it. Or if they just automatically put NIKK, I was like, you're a good person.
I judge people when they write Gabriel, GAYBRIEL.
That's weird.
It's like, why would you do that? Are you in 3rd grade? Because that's 3rd grade sense of humor if you're really trying to do that. Anyway, moving forward. Thank you for listening to the show, everybody. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It always really helps us out and makes it easier for people to find the show and enjoy it like you guys are right now. So, as always, guys, remember, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.